Good morning, everybody. Last video from the road, and let's jump in. This video is called Are We in a New Bull Run? I'm going to look at a whole bunch of on-chain data. Last week, you remember my video. I called it the pre-fed run, cut run, and it looks like we've run a lot. So let's get into all the numbers, all the data, all the money flow, all the things to look for. Thank you so much for coming. And hope everything's working. Anyway, excuse the siren in the background if you can hear it. And this is not financial advice. And shout out to Yanis904, patron, the best subscription ever made. Thank you so much for being part of the family. Let's get into the ugly news first. Unlocks, as you can see here, the big ones this week are Yield Guild Games, you know, the gaming tokens, always rain down tokens, Ajax, Torn, Portal, ENA, always raining tokens, Optimism's in there, Manta, and DYDX. Nothing too hectic this week. And this is interesting too. Again, we're just doing the ugly news first. This is... how this is even legal, I don't know. I get so mad. I'm so sick of government corruption. I shouldn't even say that, but Nancy Pelosi sold nearly $1 million worth of Visa stock on the 1st of July. And right after that, the U.S. Department of Justice sues Visa. Again, having insider information matters, but this level of using information to trade, you know, so the government workers get an edge, I think is just criminal. No offense to any Nancy Pelosi fans out there. Also, hope people no longer listen to radio. In other government news, the FCC just fast-tracked George Soros' purchase of basically all the radio stations in the United States so they can control the narrative. It's like a cheap way of buying Twitter X. I hope I've seen the damage that George Soros has done to a place like California, and I hope him having control of the whole radio waves will not create another one true narrative. It's always good to have a diverse set of views from different sides, all sides. Anyway, and government corruption news part 1. There should be part 2. It was a huge event yesterday. The majority whip of the government tells Gary Gensler, we could not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC. So if you don't believe me that the government is corrupt and lawless, why don't you believe a government official who runs the, I don't know if he runs the Senate or Congress, one of the others. Anyway, it basically ripped Gary Gensler apart yesterday. That actually should be in the good news, but I have it in the bad news and the ugly news, because I hate corruption, hate lies, and all that stuff. Anyway, let's get into the bad news. Bitcoin Sharpe ratio is lower than previous runs so far. If you look at the history here, focus on the peak Sharpe, and normally we run around 27%, 24%, 22%. Currently we're at 18%. And that is technically still an incredibly good return based against historical assets. And remember, off the bottom, we're up over 4x, which isn't bad, from 15.5 to 64K right now. But at the same time, we have a long way to go. And I do believe we're still early in the bull, and that's part of the theme today. Also, this is kind of an interesting piece of kind of bad news. Charles Hoskinson accused Vitalik of running a dictatorship of Ethereum. Hoskinson argues that Vitalik Buterin exerts too much influence over the development of the decentralized network. So if it is truly decentralized, how can he actually exert influence? And again, Charles slammed Ethereum as a dictatorship. Hoskinson's the founder of Cardano, used to be part of, I don't know, ETH or something. But anyway, he's never one who's too shy to shy away from stirring the pot. But in my opinion, Charles Hoskinson's biggest mistake always has been trying to beat ETH. Okay, the world has changed. ETH is no longer the competition, has not been the competition for a long time. They need to worry about other stuff. And just as a little bit of a comparison here, basically all the daily transactions for all chains are done by Solana, 36.4 million yesterday. Ethereum does about 1.1 million transactions, Bitcoin 628,000 transactions a day, and Cardano 31,000. So I think Charles needs to focus on his own knitting and not be throwing shade at Ethereum or Vitalik. Anyhow, enough of that. Also, a lot of talk of price controls, fixing inflation, and everything else. But this is a fascinating article showing the four things that happened after Argentina removed rent controls, which is like price controls. If you put the lid on the price of bread or rent or anything else, you destroy markets. But in Argentina, we have a live case study of what happens in only a few months. Number one, the supply of rentals increased by 170%. Rent growth eased to 3-year low. So rents went down and supply increased. And rentals became easier to find, and renters are getting better deals ever, and inflation has cooled. So any opponents of price controls say Argentina is a cautionary lesson for officials in the US and Europe who have looked into curb any costs, whether it's housing or food or rent or anything else. Free markets work. Anybody who talks about price controls is an idiot who doesn't understand economics. Okay, let's get into some more news too. This is kind of funny because for years the biggest FUD thrown against Bitcoin was Bitcoin mining is bad, it uses too much electricity. Well, AI, however, needs all the juice. This OpenAI, Sam Altman, pitched to the Biden administration on the need for massive data centers that could each use as much power as entire cities. So all of a sudden, the electricity usage by Bitcoin is now a nothing burger, as we always said it was, because clothes dryers use more electricity, a lot more than Bitcoin mining. Air conditioning uses a ton more electricity than Bitcoin mining. Now AI is going to use more electricity than pretty much everything combined. So brace for that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, time for the good news. Thank you all for bearing with me here. Crypto market over the last 7 days against Bitcoin. You can see it's been a good week. Bitcoin, of course, against Bitcoin is flat. Ethereum, I said last week, I said it's a perfect bottom. It was a 2230 on Ethereum. The chart looked really, really bullish, and it was. And now Ethereum is over 2630, and it's been up 5.52% for the week. Sol up 16%. A lot of other good names are up, but Binance down, Tron down as well. In terms of melting ice cubes, in terms of dollars, Bitcoin up 1.2% for the week. ETH up 0.28%, and Solana up 15.2%. Sui as well up big. ICP, Aptos, Near, IMX all up big as well. So even though it doesn't appear this way, we're seeing signs that alt season is happening. Let's check on the alt season chart. This shows it's not, though. Bitcoin season is down to 31 from 35 last week. Not that good. Let's see what's happening. We're seeing a big bifurcation in the top performers versus the bottom performers. You got all the crappy names, Cosmos, Pepe, etc., all getting hammered. Hedera, Toncoin, Polkadot, all really getting smashed over the last 90 days. Bitcoin essentially exactly flat over the last 90 days. We've gone nowhere for the whole summer. But that's what always happens, the calm before the storm. Sol down about 3% for the last 90 days. But then you see the big players. Sui up huge. Sui has been on an absolute rampage. And we'll get to the Sui chart in a few minutes as well. Up 38%. Tau, an AI play, up big as well. Aave up big too. Now let's look in at some money flows. We had a second big week in a row, second consecutive week of inflows totaling $321 million. And this was likely driven by anticipation of the Fed rate cut decision, and then an extra 50 basis points helped a lot too. So the money's coming back to digital assets from a fund perspective. And money flow by asset here, Solana up 3.2 million. That's the fifth week where it's outperformed every other altcoin other than Bitcoin, and that's pretty impressive. Short Bitcoin fund I don't include, but people are there use that to hedge their positions. Ethereum bled out again for the week, another 30 million out, which is not good. Solana continues to see consistent weekly inflows, which is very, very good for that asset. Fear and greed, back to greed. Big move back up, scoring 60. So the market all of a sudden has shaken off any fears. And we were down, remember, we were down at 20, 21, 22 only a few weeks ago, which is crazy. Let me see. This is the categories, the top narratives across all crypto. AI, number one, up 19.6% for the month. Number two, data availability. And number three, NFT applications. What's interesting is over the last month, Bitcoin up 2.1% and Ethereum down exactly 2.1%. So Ethereum continues to lag, but again, it did bottom at 2200. That's not the point at which you ever want to sell. And this is a cool thing. Inspiration comes from Marty for this, and I turned into a little chart. It's basically, what would the price of Bitcoin be if it had an equivalent market cap to the top 10 assets on the planet? And it's kind of funny. The real elephant in the room is to match gold, of course. But let me walk through these real quick. To get to Meta, which is number 9, Bitcoin's number 10 right now with a 64K price. To get to number 9, it needs to hit $72,000, which is under all-time high. So we're going to eclipse Meta soon again. Saudi Aramco, 89,000. Silver, 92,000. I think we will eclipse silver this bull run. That was one of my predictions in 2023. Google, 101,000 on the nose. Amazon, 153,000. Nvidia, 150,000. And Microsoft, 161,000. Apple, 174,000. Notice how kind of Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple are all very close in terms of market cap, super tight together. And gold, if we match the market cap of gold, we get to $909,000. Another cool study that popped up yesterday was Lynn Alden. She commissioned a research report written by Sam Kalla to quantify Bitcoin's correlation to measures of global money creation relative to other asset classes. And the result, as Bitcoin moves in the direction of global M2 83% of the time. And that's more than any other asset. So the point to take away from this is Bitcoin is very M2 sensitive. When M2 goes up, Bitcoin will go up. Typically happens 3 months later, call it 12 weeks. Anyway, the other cool story today from StockMoney Lizards, I thought this chart was an interesting view of the world. According to their chart, you can see here, bull market is in green and bear market is in red. And per them, they still consider Bitcoin in a bear until it gets back to all-time highs. So if that's still the case, and post-halving, you can see here, they still consider this to be a bear market, despite the fact that Bitcoin is up 4x from the bottom. If this is the case, and the point of this chart here is we're still very early post the fourth halving, and we have a long way to go in this bull run. If history repeats after first halving, after second halving, after third halving, we still haven't experienced that big green run yet. Will we get a big green run? I think so. And wait till you hear the Hopium Hit of the day. It's very fun. Also, short-term holders are confident. And this is the new investors' confidence in trend. Over recent months, this is from Glassnode, new investors who acquired their coins over the last 155 days have shown a comparatively higher confidence in the market that previously had bearish trends. And the magnitude of losses locked in by this cohort remain relatively low compared to the cost base of the holdings. They're pretty much at cost basis now. So we are here. They haven't experienced a lot of pain, and the holders are confident because they also, even though they were down a little bit, they did not sell. So they're waiting. Short-term holders are in and they're waiting. And of course, after 155 days, they convert to be long-term holders. Now, let's check in on the new Bitcoin marketing department. This is Blackrock. This is from Blackrock's head of digital assets. Bitcoin is as scarce, global, decentralized, non-sovereign asset. This is from Bitcoin Magazine. The new marketing team is here, so they are pumping the coin like never in history before, and Larry Fink doesn't get off the TV. Back to some more on-chain stuff too. This is kind of the perp market, which we've looked at a lot. It did plunge a lot. It's been pretty dead and lackluster. But if we calculate the monthly premium that long side contracts have paid to the short side over the past 30 days, we can see that the total cost of leverage around the March all-time high was around 120 million a month. This indicator has plunged to 1.7 million, basically dead, flatlined, as of mid-September. But good news is it has picked up its 10x from that basis. It's up to about 11 million per month today, and therefore demand for long leverage has increased over the past couple of weeks, but still lower than it was in January 2023. And this speaks to a market that has cooled off significantly during this correction. It's like it's behaving like it's in a bear, which corresponds coincidentally to this chart. So that's why a lot of people think, are we entering a new bull run? Remember, calm before the storm is what we like to see. Now, Hopium Hit of the day from Plan B. And I must say, I really enjoyed reading this. I thought it was very well written and very funny. This is just a scenario from Plan B. October, classic pump month, Bitcoin back to 70K. November, T wins election, Democrats get ended. Biden, Harris, Warren, Gensler war in crypto dies, which is good. Bitcoin to 100K. December, massive ETF inflow, Bitcoin to 150K. That's hella hopium. January, crypto people, companies return to US, Bitcoin to 200,000. That means they come back from Dubai or something. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. February, power law crew sells. Obviously, it's something to do with power law. That's, I think, Geo and Fred, etc. I think the amount of intra-Bitcoin maxi fighting is kind of hilarious. We should all just love each other and all get along. That's my philosophy. Anyway, power law crew sell at 150K. March, Bitcoin legal tender in Bhutan, Argentina, and Dubai. Bitcoin to $300,000. April, Trump US start building strategic Bitcoin reserve. Bitcoin to 400,000. May, other countries except the EU join rat race. Bitcoin to 500,000. June, several AI start using Bitcoin to autonomously arb TradFi. Bitcoin to 600,000. July, December, face melting FOMO. Bitcoin all-time high 1 million. 2026 distribution phase. Bitcoin back to $500,000. 2027 bear market. And I can't see the last piece. There's a little thing on my computer in the way. But anyway, that is the story. I thought that was very, very interesting. Who knows what's going to happen? Comments below, please. Money flow, 221 million into Sol, only 121 million out. Solana still remains the black hole. There's a lot of talk of other chains catching up, but still, Solana is still a black hole. Money is flowing in, activity is there, transactions are there, users are there, etc. Another view of the money flows, the top 15 net flows over the last 3 months. Solana number 1, Optimism number 2, Sui number 3, Base number 4, Avalanche 5, Polygon 6, Injective 7, Stark 8, and Binance 9. The rest all bled, especially Ethereum. Heavy bleeding, nearly $1.2 billion out of Ethereum. And Solana took in 988 million from all other chains combined over the last 90 days. Black Hole Sun, still alive and well. Let's talk about Sui. Everybody's asking about Sui, and I'm doing my Sui versus Sol face-off and comparative valuation model this week. I promise, takes a lot of work though. Sui on ATR is at level 5. The all-time high is at 220, and we're currently trading about $1.70. The layer 5 is at $1.70 as well. This typically is resistance. It looks like after the rampage up from 80 cents straight to basically doubling in a matter of weeks. It's been stunning, but it looks like it could be running a bit out of steam. Unless, of course, the altcoin market continues to pump, then this could get back to all-time highs. Watching very carefully. Let's talk about stocks real quick. Stock market over the last week, not month, excuse the title. Again, disruption is loving the rate cuts. Tesla up another 12% for the week, and we are now above my 10-10 target for $250. When Tesla was just under 200, I said it's going to probably rise to 250 by the October 10th. We're September 24th, 25th, I think, and we're already above the target 255, 256 as we speak. Nvidia up another 10%, Meta up 6%. Great week for tech. They love the Fed rate cuts, and there's more cuts coming, which means tech is going to blow even more. All those who said, oh, when they cut rates, it's going to be a recession and the market's going to crash and everything's going to fall 50%. Yeah, no, as I always said. Anyhow, MicroStrategy, Rip continues. These guys keep buying Bitcoin hand over fist. They keep getting attention. Again, this is kind of coincidence with SUI. MicroStrategy is also at layer 5 on the ATR model here at $156. All-time high is about just shy. It spiked at 200, but really on this ATR model, we are not far from the all-time high, and it's holding up really well. Trend is strong as they continue to buy Bitcoin, as they continue to add sats per share. This thing continues to go up. Let's switch gears for a second. Back in 4th of July of this year, I talked about the pair trade of the decade. At the time, Bitcoin was 66,700 and Tesla was 177. I said Tesla will far outperform. Quick check-in on where we are now. This is 3 months later. Bitcoin down 4.5%. Tesla up 45%. So it's been a pretty good performer. Quick look at the Tesla chart, only at level 4. We are still a long way from the top. Top is 420. You can't make that number up. Apparently it has special meaning in California, but the momentum is very strong. The question people have is, can we get to 300? Some people now think 300 could be possible by the Robotaxi event on 10/10, which is only 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be exciting to see what happens, see what they release. And will it be a sell the news event? We shall see. We'll be tracking it right here. Thank you all for coming, and big congrats to everybody who was able to buy Tesla from $106 all the way to $150, $160 for over 20 months. We had the perfect time to stack this asset, and now it's going to really start paying heavy dividends. Thank you all for coming. Hope you like the show. Hit the like and subscribe. You want to see more content like this from people like me. Not me, but people like me too. Thank you all for coming, and be back at base tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll knock out the Sui versus Sol. Bye-bye.